A lot of people can't stand Nigel Farage, particularly all the lovely lefties. They absolutely hate him, and they have their reasons. But one of the things he does fairly regularly is speaks complete bloody common sense on a lot of subjects, whether you like it or not, and the dinghy divers is one of them. How do everyone? Welcome back to the channel for a Monday. Hope you're doing all right. I'm not too bad myself. Let me know how you are in the chat, in the comments below. It's all good. Well, Nigel Farage, you see, he keeps an eye on things, and he's been very known to be quite critical about the problem going on in the English Channel, and you know what's being said and what the truth of the matter is. And he did a video not too long ago, really, well, in the last couple of days to be exact, about what's really going on and his take of it. No one in the mainstream media will actually comment on what he's talking about. Well, he did a video on this, and he said in his video quite clearly, share it with your friends. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. Check this out from Nigel Farage.
A new week and it's Operation Red Meat. This is the plan to save Boris Johnson after 6 Tory MPs come out and say that he should resign. So suddenly he's remembered he was elected as a Conservative, not as a Liberal Green. So we're back to talking about levelling up the north of England. We're back to talking about restricting the money that goes to the BBC and a new long-term arrangement, which is good. But also, the big headline in some of the papers today is the Royal Navy are being sent into the English Channel to stop the migrant crisis. Now, Priti Patel talked about this last year. Nothing actually happened. And opinion polls show nearly 3/4 of the entire population, 90% of Brexiteers, think this is a great idea. So it's classic Boris Johnson. Look at what's popular, tell the public you're going to do it. Will it make any difference? Well, even if the entirety of the Royal Navy, or should I say what's left of the Royal Navy after 11 years of Tory rule, even if all of them cruised up and down on the 12-mile line off the British shoreline because they can't go into French waters without permission, even if they all did that, unless you're going to turn the boats around and push them back to France, it makes no difference at all. All it will be is a slightly bigger and frankly more expensive taxi service than that given by Border Force or indeed the RNLI. It will make no difference whatsoever. Then we hear, well, when they do arrive in England, we're going to fly them off to Ghana or somebody else in West Africa where they're going to be processed. Believe you me, this isn't going to happen. The human rights lawyers will never, ever allow it. And even if some went, we'd be told conditions in the camps weren't acceptable. Plus, the cost of doing that would be tens of thousands per individual. So that isn't going to happen either. But let me tell you what's really happened over the weekend about the cross-channel migrant crisis, a story that has had virtually no coverage at all. To be fair, the Telegraph have touched on it. Everybody else has pretty much ignored it. Well, it's this. Under advice from the government's own Migration Council, it has now been decided that asylum seekers, and that at the moment in the main means those that have crossed the English Channel illegally and are now staying in the UK, that after they've been here a year, whilst their asylum claim is still being processed, and that's the vast majority, they will be allowed legally to go to work. Now, I'm not making this up. This is the first time the British government has ever done this. After 12 months, they'll be allowed to go to work, although the Migration Council advised that gets reduced to 6 months, and surely it's only a matter of time before we follow that. Tom Pursglove, the Immigration Minister, says it's a temporary measure. Well, it isn't very temporary, is it? Because once people are legally working in this country, there is absolutely zero chance, even if they would never qualify as asylum seekers, of them ever being asked to leave. Now, the care sector is being highlighted because up to 40,000 people have left the care sector because they didn't want to be vaccinated. They're gone, they're out. The same rules will apply to the National Health Service from the 1st of April. And that's probably when you'll see the reduction to 6 months. Obviously not for medical doctors or nurses, but for doing some kind of work within the NHS. This move on its own is the biggest green light to the criminal trafficking gangs I think I've ever seen. Get to Britain, you won't be deported, and now you won't even have to work in the illegal economy, working for gangmasters, going into some form of modern day slavery. No, you can work fully and legally. Earlier on in this chat, I mentioned taxis, because I've been saying that Border Force is now a taxi service. Another story has emerged this weekend. This one will amaze you. I hope you're sitting down. For those that are living in hotels, mostly that's those that have come across the channel, although some in the hotels have come from Afghanistan. They are now allowed to order taxis, that's right, to go to appointments. So they've got an appointment, they get a taxi there, a taxi back, and guess what? The taxpayer is picking up the bill, and there are now concerns that's being abused. Well, isn't that a surprise? I wonder whether, as they haven't got cars, and some of these hotels are in fairly isolated locations, perhaps they'll get taxis to the care home for their day's work and a taxi back. That we'll have to see. So everything that's happened over the last 72 hours as Boris Johnson tries to shore up his reputation as a Conservative, to reach out to Brexit voters to say, we really are taking back control of our borders. The newspapers, Sky, the BBC, ITV, they may buy the headlines about the Royal Navy, but the truth of what is going on is those that come here illegally will soon legally be able to work. No visa, no application, no aggro, just get to Britain and pretty quickly get a job, and who knows, maybe even a taxi too. That's the truth about what's going on. And I'm going to ask you, please, would you share?
There you go, you see. As usual, absolutely disgusting, premeditated, and there's certainly an agenda at play here, especially with the staff shortages we have in places like care work, hospitals and all the rest of it. We've got ready-made staff members coming across the channel, haven't we? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, whatever next. Well, I found that very interesting, very enlightening and completely unsurprising. If you haven't done so for Nigel already, get this shared, because people need to know what the hell's going on, and somehow it needs putting a stop to, and the only way we can do that is let more people know. Anyway, I'll see you later. Toodaloo.